Aunt Gert, Gertrude Ethel Weber, born in 1915 in the village of Rosenfeld, Manitoba, the third in line of the Weber children, and born in the back of the family's general store. The early part of her life was spent bouncing between rental houses and towns, often on the advice of her mother's Ouija board. In the fall of 1923, the family settled in Calgary. Thanks to her Aunt Gertie's generosity, she trained as a teacher and spent the last years of the Depression into the 1940s in one-room schoolhouses in farming hamlets. A fumble of events found Gert walking in summertime Toronto in 1954. A guy shot by her on a streetcar. Then several stops later, he got off and ran back and begged to buy her a coffee. In my life, I had never met anyone like her, said a smitten Doug Laurie, and they were shortly married on Christmas Eve of that year. Soon they were buying a 20-room home filled with boarders to swing the 4 mortgages, 2 children, night schools, and difficulties. They raised 2 boys, Dal, who died in 1991, and Rick. In 1975, Gert and Doug retired to Pat Bay, BC, buying a country cottage and a grocery store overlooking the waters of Brentwood Bay. Joan and I remember visiting them at the cottage, enjoying tea and cookies in the front room, chatting about family. Gert undertook the writing of our family history and finished the book in 1988.
Aunt Gert. She was a really hard one to get an audio recording. She hated anyone taking pictures or audio recordings of her. So I had to sneak the microphone around her. I had a pen that was a microphone. I used that. But so I've got a bunch of audio tapes where you can't even make her out. But there's a few gems that came through.
But you must have collected all of the family history over the years for you to do the book. It's incredible the amount of information you have in that book. How did you...
And Winnie kept me at it.
Oh, did
She
you?
would come out once in a while, and she wanted to know what I'd done.
But it was when the big family gathering was coming up, you knew you had to get to the publisher.
I knew I had to
You had a deadline.
Any stories on Aunt Gert? The Keens would have a few.
Yeah,
Is that Aunt Gert?
Oh, yeah, going up to her store in Pat Bay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wanna talk
That's
about
right.
it?
Yeah, we used to. Oh, it was great. Aunt Gert and Uncle Doug moved to Victoria, and they bought this home with a little store. And oh, it was so exciting. We'd always go out to meet or to visit Aunt Gert, and Uncle Doug would Uncle Doug and Aunt Gert would bring us into the store, and we got to pick all the candy that we could and pop. Oh my God! And then whenever they come out to our houses, they came out quite a bit on the weekends. They'd bring pop and candy with them. It was like, we were never allowed that pop. Oh my God! My mom, never would allow that. And it was, but she couldn't refuse say no because it was Aunt Gert and Uncle Doug. It was so great. Yeah. Yeah.
When I was married in 1968, we took a trip across Canada, Ed and I, and we went down to Toronto where Doug and Gert lived, and my mom had made arrangements for us to stay overnight with them. So we got to their place, and it was really nice. Aunt Gertie said, well, Doug, I think we should take them out for a drink. Oh, okay, so they took us out. We went out to this bar, and Ed, he didn't drink anything, but we had a beer, and then they started this dancing, and what the hell's going on? And these naked ladies came over. My mother. And she's sitting there killing herself laughing. She thought that was the best party we ever been
Okay, pop that one. Well, I do have to tell you about 1988. which is when the
The
book
reunion, yeah.
came out.
The Mike and Sharon's.
Yes. And so Gert had been working on the book, working, and there's a copy on the table over there. And she finally got it published, slapped into a couple of 3 big cardboard boxes, threw into the back of the car, grabbed her 2 sons, Del and Rick. We're going to Calgary.
Wow.
And non-stop, off they go. They had a huge deadline to meet. Finally arriving at Mike and Sharon's place in the backyard for the big unveiling. And, you know, my mom and dad, aunts and uncles were all there. Plus, all of my cousins were there.
Yeah.
And Aunt Gert had a copy of the book for each and every one of us.
Wow.
And it was wonderful.
Yeah.
And then I glanced up from the book. And what I saw was all of my cousins going through the book saying, I didn't know that about Granddad. And my aunts and uncles were going through, she wrote about the old man. The secrets were out.
Yeah.
Secrets were out. At that point, we knew what questions to ask of our parents. I think my mother hid from me for about 2 weeks. There are stories to be told, but you have to come to the next reunion.
Yeah. That's funny.
But that was just a great afternoon, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.